Hello, everyone. This is Kristie with AG Takes Over. Thank you so much for joining me today while I give you a recap of my doll-filled weekend, which involved not only a doll-themed sleepover, but a doll collector meetup the very next day. So, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. This is what I do. About twice a week, I post videos about American Girl doll things, and you are welcome to tap that notification bell and make sure that you get a heads up whenever I post a new video. Anyway, so we invited 3 friends over to spend the night with my wife and one of them got sick, so it ended up being 4 of us, and we decided we would do a craft as part of the overnight. So this is not all necessarily in order, but one of the things that we did was a craft that I had already done by myself, and I figured it was easy to do over again and easy to, like, scale up. So if you're familiar with Joe of AGTV for Life, a while back she did a tutorial on how to make popcorn for Nikki and Isabel's popcorn set, like make some additional popcorn that's loose with styrofoam, like the old school styrofoam. And I watched that video months ago and then had to wait and wait and wait until I got some kind of package that actually contained old styrofoam. And I'd been saving it ever since I made some so that when our friends came over, we could make some more of it. So here are my friends Robin, and you can see Mel in the background there. The dolls strewn all over the table gives you a sense of the other activity that we did, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So you basically just break up the styrofoam, put it in a box, mix in some paint, and stir it around and let it dry. And we made not only the movie theater butter popcorn that Joe had made, but we also used a little bit more of a warm brown yellow and made some caramel corn. And then the next day, you'll get to see these pictures later, but here's a sneak peek of what we did. When you go to a fall festival, you get those long, skinnier bags of popcorn. We made some of those out of repurposed Ziploc bags. So that didn't happen till the next morning, though. What did happen on the evening of our second doll slumber party was we watched a movie because Mel had never watched a single American Girl movie. So we started strong. We did tell her it's probably going to be all downhill from here because this one had the biggest budget. If I remember correctly, it's the only one that was actually in theaters, and it obviously had bigger name actors and I think better writing than a lot of the other AG movies. So we watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it. So that was lovely. And then the other thing that I had suggested was bring some dolls that are in need of some TLC, and I will be happy to put myself to work doing some restoration. So I had no idea how many dolls our friends would bring or what they would be in need of, but here's a recap of what I did. And no, I didn't even think to take any before pictures. So you're just going to have to trust me when I say they all look better than they did before. So this one was a doll, a CYO that Mel had got, I think from Shop Goodwill, um, whose hair was just in need of some TLC. It was really pretty easy. It looked rough, but I didn't even have to wash it. I just sprayed it down and brushed it and recurled it and gave her a hairstyle because she had a lot of flyaways. Like she was played with hard by whoever had her before. And I said, she's going to have flyaways no matter what I do. Even if I flat iron it and I restore the curls, you're still going to see all these broken bits. So probably just doing a hairstyle that covers a few of them will be your best bet. So that's how she turned out. I think she looks lovely. And then this girl, she bought her a few years ago while she was on vacation, had no idea that the back of the hair, not only had it just been fried in general, but literally there was a chunk in the back that where somebody must have been using a flat iron and just paused and had a conversation with somebody and completely disregarded the fact that there was heat on this doll's hair and it singed it right off. Maybe halfway down the head, and it was this huge, matted, nasty chunk, and then nothing. And you probably can barely even see where that spot was at this point. So we may go back in and restore the curl on another day, but for right now, Mel was just utterly over the moon with the difference in texture, with how well hidden this missing chunk of the doll's hair is. So this was absolutely a success. The next two were easy. She had a Blair doll, same friend had a Blair doll, and her meat hairstyle had just gotten sloppy. She said, I don't think I've ever even brushed her hair. She's always been just display only, but just in the moving the dolls around, they get kind of messed up. And so I took her hair down and redid it. That was all. Not really rehabbing anything. I just refreshed her meat hairstyle. Same thing for Corinne. She just had some loose hairs and it was looking like it needed a refresh. So she got a new hairstyle. And that was it. Those 4 dolls were it for Mel. And then Robin had brought over, well, 2.5 dolls. So she brought over 2 dolls who had bang situations, to put it nicely. One of them we'll get to was one I had already worked on before, and I had said, bring her back over and I'll see if I can get it even better. And then this one was one that she had gotten. I think what happens is people do a boil dunk. If you're not familiar with that, they boil water and they basically like dunk the doll's hair in it to get rid of the frizz. It does get rid of the volume. It does take out all the curl, but to get rid of the frizz and the dryness. Whether or not it's the best way to resuscitate hair, you guys can argue in the comments if you want. The biggest thing is, even if you're gonna do it, don't do it to the bangs. Don't just turn your doll's head upside down and dunk their whole head, bangs and all, I mean their whole hair, bangs and all, in the hot water. It just juts out and it looks horrible, and if you've seen pictures of it, you know what I'm talking about. Again, I didn't think to take pictures before, but this cute 54 had that situation. So I tried something a little bit different with hers. I took a pipe cleaner and tripled it on itself, kind of folded it on itself, so it was 3 strands of pipe cleaner, and twisted them, and then made it arc across her forehead under her bangs. Making sure that I protected the eyes, I boiled some water, dunked a little cloth wipe in it, wrung it out just a tiny bit, but laid it on top of her hair. And the hope was it's gonna put all that heat, which allows the hair to be reshaped, but it's gonna be reshaped over that pipe cleaner, which is creating a bulge to give it some natural curl underneath. So I did that once with it a little bit like midway on the forehead, and then once with it a little bit closer to the eyebrows. And I was really pleased with how well this turned out. Like, does it look like the factory curl? No, but it looks so much better than it did before. Like, so much better. When a doll has had that like stick straight, sticking out bangs because of a hot water dunk, it's the only thing you can see. When you look at the doll, you're just like, oh, it would be a cute doll if it weren't for those crazy bangs. So yeah, I really like that you can just focus on the doll now. And then this one is her 38, um, who had the exact same kind of bangs, and she'd brought her over to me before. I got them a lot better, but I wasn't satisfied. I felt like you could really see an obvious kind of dent in the bangs. So they weren't stick straight, but it was more like a sharp angle instead of a smooth curl. I would still like to work on this doll more, but I feel like we got much closer this time. And then the last one was she brought me, I said 2.5 dolls, right? She brought me a Nanea head with no eyes in it. And she said, I have literally had this doll's head sitting in a box for 3 or 4 years at least, because I bought her thinking I would customize her and I would do X, Y, and Z. And that was my plan. And then when you did your review of Summer and you talked about how the Nanea mold has never been given brown eyes, I thought, you know what? That's what I should do instead. I should give that doll brown eyes. And she was going to order some brown eyes, but they wouldn't have gotten there in time. We happened to have some. So I was like, okay, we can just give them to you and you can replace them later. Um, I was nervous because I've never put in eyes on a Nanea mold. And, you know, every eye shape is different. Some of them are harder to work with than others. And I don't like doing eyes anyway. It makes me feel rushed and stressed, and and requires hand strength I don't always feel like I have. But I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. It was a close call. I painted the lids because the skin tone on the lids didn't match. I painted them with a nail polish. They looked great. I couldn't remember because I do these so infrequently. Do I usually put them in the eyeballs, like in the doll head, and then paint them? Or do I usually paint them and then put them in? I feel like I usually paint them and then put them in, but it was a mistake in this case because when I finally got the left eye in, I realized that the heat from the head, like from heating up the doll head, had warmed the nail polish and it was smearing, and it smeared on the lashes and it smeared on her upper lashes, like on the doll's head itself. And it was a mess. I was like, oh my gosh, I've ruined our eyes. I ruined her doll's head. What a mess. But it's fine. I just took some nail polish remover and a little paintbrush and very painstakingly got it off the eyelashes. And then I didn't want to do that on the above the eye, like on the actual doll head, because I was afraid that I would wipe off the painted lashes. So I just used the probably the same wipe that I used on the previous doll, wet it, and took my fingernail and scrubbed and got it off. So I don't know how it worked out, but it did, and then the right eye went in with no problem. I mean, it was painful, but it was uneventful, I guess, is the best way to put it. So yeah, she, the head, baldy that it is, looks great now, and it was a close call, but it all worked out well. We went to bed, I don't know, around 1 something, and the next morning got up, had a nice leisurely morning, some cinnamon rolls, and we finished up our popcorn craft, which you'll get to see in a little bit. And then we headed out for our third Central Ohio American Girl Doll Collectors meetup. This one I was so excited about, and I thought we'd have a really good turnout. And then as it got closer, some of the regulars said they weren't going to be able to make it. Our friend had gotten sick, somebody else didn't have a ride. And I thought, wow, this is going to be really small. So we had moved it a little bit closer to us, and just showing you some historical pictures here. The first picture is the very first one we had this past spring. And then here is a picture of the one that we had over the summer. And here is a picture, our child is there, but not pictured, of the one that we just had. So just 7 of us. It was smaller. It was also hot. It's October. We did this October 6th. I don't know when this is airing, but we did this October 6th, and it was 85 degrees in Ohio, which is just wrong. Just wrong. So I was kind of glad that we moved it closer to us because I was like, it was smaller and it was hot. Um, the both of the picnic shelters were booked. You have to pay to reserve them, and I just didn't want to. So that was no problem. We just found a shady area and set up our stuff. So Grace and I had taken these props, and this was like the main photo opportunity. So all of our little bags of popcorn, the butter and the caramel, all of these things were things that we just already had around the house, except for Mel provided the 3 little trees to the right of the stand, but the rest of it was stuff we just have had and used in past. Here is somebody who was setting up for a doll photo shoot, but I believe that this was the first time that this collector had taken her dolls out in public, period. So that was really cool. And here's a picture of our Peanut. I am intentionally not showing you many pictures of our dolls and the trick-or-treating pictures because I explained recently in my Halloween video that I always use the prior year's Halloween pictures for the current year's video. So I'm going to hang on to those for now. But I did think that this was adorable. My wife got some shots of our little one posing her own doll. So here's Draculaura. And I don't remember if she went up to the pumpkin patch and picked out a pumpkin, but she climbed trees. She sat on logs. We had some fun. Most of us did not get the Barbie collector's doll, but our friend Robin did. So she brought her out so we could get some pictures and see her in natural light. And she was very pretty, of course. Here is one of Robin's dolls. And here's the other one that she dressed up. I believe the first one is Memphis and the second one is Eleanor. And then there was another Eleanor. Eleanor here on the left belongs to Mel, and her Blair is on the right. And her backstory for Eleanor is that she's British. So this was her first Halloween fall festival ever, her first time getting popcorn at the festival, and she kind of overdid it and had to take a rest. And then Mel's other dolls that she brought along are all Toy Story themed. So the Tan family enjoying their family costume. And Mel looked at a picture that I had taken of something completely different and got inspired and did this last little picture. So I figured I would make that the final picture of this video. Yeah, it was so much fun. I know that sometimes when you plan things and they don't go exactly as you'd like, you can get discouraged. Like I could focus on, well, we were down by 33% for our overnight because our friend got sick and we missed her. And it was a really small meetup and it was very hot. And all of those things are true. But what's also true is we were a group of adults who prioritized having fun and doing some things just for us and connecting to each other and enjoying our dolls. So, yeah, it was still a win. I hope you enjoyed kind of experiencing it virtually with me and that you're having a great day today. I will talk to you soon.